Of the guest list for the Copenhagen Conference on Climate Change today. It starts next week, and among those attending will be Prime Ministers from Bangladesh to Ethiopia and luminaries from Barack Obama to Prince Charles. And then there's the royalty of showbiz like Kate Blanchett and Leonardo DiCaprio. The granddaddy of these immensely wealthy environmental missionaries is Sting, who at least can't be accused, like some of them, of being a Johnny-come-lately. He's just back from another trip to the Amazon basin. But before we talk to him, Justin Rowlett reports.
The Police were one of the greatest bands of the 70s and 80s. So there is no question about Sting's status. And his international fame has allowed Sting to continue to pursue his own unique musical directions. Sting recognised early on in his career that fame can be leveraged as a campaigning tool. And while today's pop stars were singing along to Police numbers in their bedrooms, Sting was already deep into the rainforest. In 1989, he set up the Rainforest Foundation to protect the rainforest and the rights of indigenous people. 20 years on, and Sting is rekindling his involvement in the campaign. But the latest round of publicity also coincides with his latest CD. Leading some critics to ask whether the Rainforest Foundation is more about Sting and his music than it is about the forests and their people.
20 years ago, this wasn't here.
That's a charge Sting denies. He says he's returned to the Amazon because the indigenous people he championed 2 decades ago are once again threatened by a vast hydroelectric dam project. But by opposing the dam, he could deny Brazil and the world a huge source of low-carbon electricity. And since the Brazilian government has already made great progress halting deforestation, might the celebrity be backing the wrong cause? And as if that wasn't enough, Sting has also faced charges of hypocrisy. The success of the Police's Reunion World Tour in 2007 made Sting the highest-earning musician on earth. But the scale of the concerts led to claims that the Police were also the most polluting band on earth. So is Sting's rock star lifestyle consistent with his claim to care about the environment? It's not easy trying to make a difference, is it? So perhaps the key question is this: do campaigning rock stars like Sting actually do any good? Andrew Mitchell is a leading forest campaigner.
It's vitally important that people like Sting, who have a massive megaphone that they can send out around the world, to tell everyone that stopping deforestation is vital. And we need people like that, people like the Prince of Wales as well, who's also raising the bar on forests, making people realise that it's 20% of all the emissions going up in the atmosphere are from burning trees.
The problem is celebrities have influence, but no power.
Of course, we're not going to solve this problem by all the ageing rockers of the world getting together. It requires all the governments of the world to get together and make a decision. And that's what we need in Copenhagen.
My intention was that Brownie's voice, Brownie's message should be heard.
Sting may come in for a lot of stick for trying to save forests, but surely it's better to try and do some good than to do nothing at all, isn't it?
Well, we're joined now by the singer known as Sting. Sting, what are the chances of this dam being stopped, do you think?
Very slim, very slim. My concern was that the voice of the Indians is not heard in this issue.
They're very rarely listened to. I went to Sao Paulo last week and convened a press conference, and the BBC came. It was very substantive, but they wouldn't have come without the celeb or the lovey turning up.
Sure,
That's
but,
just
but in the end, you are trying to stop a source of renewable energy, aren't you?
I agree, but I think we need energy, but at the same time we also need an environment for that energy to work in. And there's an argument against the dam which hasn't been heard. And the people in the front line of this, the Indians themselves, will be severely affected by this dam, and they are not being listened to.
So what's environmentally friendly, to look after the Indians or to enjoy some renewable energy?
Well, it's an interesting point. I think we need energy, but it needs to be balanced with the existence of an environment. Without the environment, there is no economics.
Sure. Well,
okay, we have to look more than short term. It's in 50 years' time, what's it going to be like? There will be no resource. Therefore, economics won't make any sense at all.
Well, actually, the Brazilian government has done rather well in terms of developing renewable energy, hasn't it? It's also making some progress on saving the rainforest.
Of course it is, but this dam is just one dam in a series of dams. This one dam, which will cost, I think, 17 billion and take about 18,000 workers to make, will not be economic without another 6 behind it, which will severely compromise an area of rainforest that I've worked very hard for the past 20 years to protect.
Now, the Brazilian government wants the help of developed nations like ours, other European countries, the United States and so on, to fund the attempts to stop the rainforest being gobbled up. Do you support that?
I agree.
Yeah. So by how much do you think taxes should go up?
This is not my issue. I think we should support Brazil and equatorial countries in saving the resource.
This kind of matters because you've already conceded the significance that the involvement of somebody like yourself can give to an issue. You have just said that you think we should be paying to stop the rainforest being destroyed, and yet you're apparently unable to say how much we should be paying.
Well, this is an economic question for an expert to answer. My job here is to try and give a platform to people who have no voice. People like my friend Rowney is not listened to. He's in the front line of this struggle. His people will die.
Do you ever feel uncomfortable travelling between your various homes in various continents at enormous carbon cost? Do you ever feel uncomfortable about that?
I think it's an amusing red herring for the media to blame celebrities for the global crisis we're in. But
you're not being blamed for it, you're just being accused of hypocrisy, that's all.
Well, I've done a lot of work to try and safeguard vast amounts of equatorial rainforests over the past 20 years. I think I've tried to ameliorate my carbon footprint, which is admittedly large, but then again, so is yours, Jeremy.
But the difficulty is, of course, that as long as you're open to the accusation of being a hypocrite, it potentially damages those causes with which you're associated.
Well, you know, I just speak my mind whenever I can. Whenever I'm asked a sensible question, I try and give a sensible answer. But none of us are blameless in this. None of us.
Yeah, but the rest of us aren't, going around from continent to different houses, trailing, apparently, according to your wife, an entourage of 750 people when you're on tour. She was misquoted, wasn't she?
I think she was misquoted, yes.
Well, what's the real figure then?
Yes, it's difficult. I have no idea, but it's difficult. It's difficult to do my job and not have a carbon footprint, but I've tried to offset it.
Well, how hard have you tried?
Pretty hard. I've worked pretty hard over the past 20 years. Demarcated an area of land the size of Belgium, which is a big success story, and this dam is going to compromise that.
Do you have the resources as the highest paid musician in the world, potentially? Why don't you just buy up the area around the dam and stop it being built?
The area already belongs to the indigenous population there. Buying the land is not part of our mandate.
The difficulty is, of course, that immensely wealthy figures, and good luck to you, immensely wealthy figures like you are expecting people to pay higher taxes, small farmers perhaps not to crop down a bit of the jungle. You're expecting poorer people to make sacrifices. It's an awkward position, isn't it?
I'm really looking at massive corporations who own mining interests and cattle ranches and soya farms to stop destroying the rainforest for short-term gain, because the long-term consequences are immense.
Sting, thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Cheers. Now, coming up on the programme,